hearing on this consideration, which tape is available. At no point in this live telecasted deliberation and consideration did the committee accept that this must be a new clause that must be introduced. Because, Mr. Speaker, the very thrust of the constitution of the bill that we have introduced, which we introduced previously, and same we are introducing now, is to be able to gag, prohibit promotion and propaganda and advocacy of these abominable practices. And we well know that the very clandestine avenues where these propaganda and advocacies are championed are through these NGOs, international organizations, bodies, and under the guise of medical interventions. Mr. Speaker, in the course of the deliberation live on TV, there were some of these bodies who were ably represented and vocally confessed that they even supply condoms and other aids to persons engaged in these abnormalities that we are prescribing. It is for which reason that you would notice in this bill that the sentencing regime for prohibition, propaganda, and advocacy is even higher and stronger than those committing the act itself. So for you to say that you are introducing, and forgive me for the word I previously used, but this is where it applies. For you to smuggle in a whole new clause, which is now going to give exemption to the very avenues.
I advise you that when a bill is referred to a committee, it is in the domain of the committee.
So, Mr. Speaker,
the committee cannot therefore propose an amendment, and you will refer to those proposals as having been smuggled in.
Mr. Speaker, it was never part of any of the proposals.
Are you a member of the committee?
I'm a key sponsor.
Yes.
And
if you are a sponsor of the committee, for instance.
And Mr. Speaker, my co-sponsors,
for instance,
who are members of the committee, have given me indication.
Just hold it. If Attorney General brings a bill to Parliament, and the bill is referred to a committee, and the committee came out with a proposal, Attorney General cannot come and say that this is not part of my bill, therefore that aspect has been smuggled into the decision. But what I want us to do is to take these exemptions one after the other. Are we saying that the provision of legal advice or legal representation to anybody who is accused or arrested for the prohibited acts should in itself be a criminal action? That we have to consider it as a house.
No, Mr. Speaker, the prohibitions are clear. It says that subject to the Constitution, a person shall not produce, procure, market, broadcast, disseminate, publish, or distribute through a medium, technological platform, technological account, or any other means, or a film, the internet service, or electronic device, or any other device capable of electronic storage or transmission. Then again, the person shall not promote or support an act prohibited under this act, engage in, participate in, promote or support an act aimed at changing public opinion towards an act prohibited under this act.
Okay,
Mr. Speaker, the instances you have raised,
yes,
they do not in any way intend to propagate any of these prohibitions I have mentioned. So there is no need to create any assumption.
If somebody is accused of LGBTQ, the principle is that all suspects are deemed innocent. And today, we file pleadings and correspondence through electronic means to the courts, and a lawyer does that. And definitely, the lawyer's argument or the lawyer's statement written by the lawyer is going to be in support of that particular accused person. So do we take it that lawyer is guilty of an offense?
Mr. Speaker, we are talking about procedures at court, which procedures are subject to the Constitution. And yes, here the preamble is subject to the Constitution.
Yes.
So we have made it clear. Any activity that we are talking about, and the very groups that whoever puts this amendment in is seeking to exempt whatever they are doing, subject to the Constitution. If it is subject to the Constitution, no need to exempt them.
This provision in A, is in consonance with the provision in the Constitution?
And we are making it clearer.
Yes. So if it is making it clearer, let's move away and look at the B. Submission or representation made to a court or tribunal, parliament, commission of inquiry, or a body exercising judicial or quasi-judicial function. Is it also in consonance with the provision of the Constitution?
Mr. Speaker, the point I want to make is that we as sponsors are opposed to these exemptions being created. Because without these exemptions, the bill is sound as we propose it. Okay. It doesn't take anything. But if suddenly in 2026, the majority may want to pass a bill which exempts NGOs,
that is
legal representatives,
Honorable Intim
tribunals, and all these exemptions, I wash my hands off that amendment.
Honorable Intim Fojo, it is the House that is passing the bill.
The entire insertion we cannot be part of.
Honorable Intim Fojo, why won't you listen to a guidance? Yes, let me hear.
Yeah, Honorable Intim Fojo, you are the sponsor of the bill.
One of the sponsors.
One of the sponsors of the bill. In your own bill, clause 9, subclause 1, you say, subject to the Constitution. Can you tell us which aspects of the Constitution you are subjecting this clause to? Which clauses of the Constitution are you subjecting clause 912? What in the Constitution are you trying to protect when you say subject to the Constitution? You definitely have seen that all the offenses that you are prescribing in clause 9 have a bearing on some provisions of the Constitution. So for clarity for us in this House to go along with you, can you tell us specifically which aspects of the Constitution you are subjecting clause 9 to? It arises because that is what, listen, that is what civil society groups raise as an objection. So media houses and journalists raise an objection that you are violating their right to free speech. Then academics raise objection that the way that we are crafting the legislation, it even denies them of engaging in research and publishing the findings of their research. Then lawyers raise objection that the way we have couched the offense, it means that if a lawyer goes to court to advocate for somebody who is engaged in the offense, some aspects of the advocacy in court might actually be impinging on the provisions of the legislation. So those are the provisions that I believe you, the very crafter of the bill, you envisage when you said in your own bill in 9.1 that's subject to the Constitution, because you recognize that there are certain constitutionally conferred rights, and that the way that you have couched your clause 9, we are in danger of violating those constitutional rights. And it is to address that concern that the committee has teased out those cases that potentially your own bill had in mind when it says subject to the Constitution. So for you to rise up and say that the majority is smuggling in something, you made provision in your bill saying subject to the Constitution. We are demanding that you specify which provisions of the Constitution and which particular conduct the Constitution protects, which you yourself are saying that we should subject your clause to.
Before you come in, let me supply a constitutional provision in Article 14(2). It reads, a person who is arrested, restricted, or detained shall be informed immediately in a language that he understands of the reason of his arrest, restriction, or detention, and of his right to a lawyer of his choice. So it therefore means that anybody who is arrested, going to be restricted, going to be detained as a result of a prohibited offenses will be entitled to a lawyer of his own choice. Now, this exemption in 1 is saying that the provision of legal advice or legal representation is an exception to the rules. And the Constitution gives right to that particular accused person to choose a lawyer of his own choice. So in the event of choosing the lawyer of his own choice and the lawyer speaking in favor of that particular person, do we say that that lawyer, in performing this constitutional function, is against, is violating these particular acts? That is why the law is subjecting it to the provisions of this Constitution. So this one substantiates and makes it clearer. I appear before a tribunal, I appear before a quasi-judicial body and advocating for LGBTQ person. And that person is exercising his constitutional right of a lawyer of his own choice. So they are saying that that lawyer cannot be guilty of an offense in 2.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Rightfully guided. But is Mr. Speaker suggesting that the 8th Parliament passed an illegal bill?
Well,
is this ruling suggesting that the bill, in the shape and form that was passed,
let me provide you illegal? The answer. It doesn't make the law illegal. Other than that, no bill after passage will come to Parliament for amendment. So law is very dynamic. It's an instrument of social engineering. It is a communicative action. It must be an aid to development. So the fact that you pass a law and you are bringing it back for amendment does not mean the law is illegal. Did you get the point? Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I seek your guidance. Mr. Speaker, we have a bill before us, a bill which was passed by this House.
Yes.
A bill which the House transmitted to Akufo-Addo to assent. The bill ends or dies with the 8th Parliament. The reintroduction of the bill now sees 31 different amendments, which suggests that the bill we wanted the Akufo-Addo to sign is not the same bill today we are discussing to pass. Now, Mr. Speaker, hold on. Mr. Speaker, clause 9. Mr. Speaker, they will relax. The clause 9 we are talking about, Mr. Speaker, in the bill we wanted the Akufo-Addo to sign, Mr. Speaker, the bill was clear. It has some provisions. I said the 9(2). A person shall not promote or support an act prohibited under this act. B. Engage in, participate in, promote or support an act aimed at changing public opinion towards an act prohibited under this act, or offer premises or any other movable or immovable asset to provide any form of assistance for purposes of promoting an act prohibited under this act. Mr. Speaker, the new bill we wanted Akufo-Addo to pass is now exempting all these people under this clause, including NGOs including academic publications and for science and medical opinions, Mr. Speaker, including the report of news and current affairs by the media house or journalists in other courses of the journalism. Mr. Speaker, the point we are making here is that if you even see the proposal and the footnote, it said the rationale is to create an exemption for these categories of activity that may otherwise impugn under Section 2. Mr. Speaker, this is just watering down the point that you wanted the Akufo-Addo to sign in 2028, for which reason people had issues. So today it is clear, Mr. Speaker, today it is clear that you are exempting all these people under this bill, which is not the same bill you asked the Akufo-Addo to sign. Mr. Speaker, about 5 different pointers in this bill, which is different from the bill you wanted the Akufo-Addo to sign. Mr. Speaker, the House has the majority. We will pass it anyways. No, hold on. We will pass it anyways. But what I'm proposing, what I'm submitting here is that the bill we are now going to pass is not the same as the one you want Akufo-Addo to pass.
The bill that
you see,
for me, not the bill I sponsored.
For me, if
this House will use their majority to pass the bill, it is not the bill I sponsored. It is an NDC bill and it's an entirely different thing.
When you get up, you must be granted the space before you speak. Do you understand? You understand? It is the House that passes a law. It doesn't lie within you. If the bill before us, you are not comfortable with it as one of the sponsors, you can advise yourself. But you don't have the authority to say that Parliament will not pass this particular law. At the time material you are complaining about, you are in the chair of this particular committee. So you don't put blame on any other person today. I will want us to go through this amendment one after the other for the House to be convinced that whether it is an amendment to be carried out or it is not an amendment to be carried out. And when I took you through 1 and 2, you said it is clearer. So if it is clearer, we move further to look at C. So the one that is not clearer, then we decide to take it out or this thing. If you say there should be no exemption, that is why I am asking that if I am involved in such an offense and the deputy minority leader is coming to be my lawyer because I have a right to a lawyer of my own choice constitutionally, that is why you are subjecting the bill to the provisions of this constitution. And they ask you a simple question: what are the provisions of the constitution you are referring to? I'm supporting you with Article 14(2), and I choose the first deputy, deputy minority leader as my lawyer, and definitely he will have to speak in support of me, file processes in support of me. Does it mean that she is violating Clause 2 of the bill, for which reason it should be punished?
Mr. Speaker, the point has been already made that when, as sponsors of the bill in 8th Parliament, we passed this bill in the shape and form.
An argument, there was no infringement to you.
There was no infringement
that law is dynamic.
On the specific. There was no infringement on the specific acts that you raised, because subject to the Constitution, and as the version in that regime was carried out, same are we carrying out today. If anybody suggests that the bill that we passed then was unconstitutional, for which these specific amendments need to be carried and exceptions carried for A, the provision of legal service or advice or legal representation, which exemption was not made in the bill we wanted the Akufo-Addo to pass. B, submissions or representations made to a court, tribunal, parliament, commission of inquiry, or a body exercising judicial or quasi-judicial functions, which exemption was not made in the bill we wanted the Akufo-Addo to sign. C, the publication of an academic, scientific, or medical opinion, which exemption was not made in the bill we wanted the Akufo-Addo to pass. D, the dissemination of information by a governmental body, non-governmental organization, organizations, development partners, or other body engaged in the delivery of health services or health-related programs. Same category of organizations at various points in time had organized advocacies which this parliament had risen to condemn. Under this bill seeks to exempt them, which exemption was not granted in the bill. We wanted Akufo-Addo to sign. And E, the provision of medical, surgical, psychological, or counseling services in accordance with accepted professional practice, which exemption was not part of the bill. You wanted Akufo-Addo to sign. And F, the reporting of news or current affairs by a media house or a journalist in the ordinary course of journalism, and the performance of a public health functions, including HIV and AIDS, prevention, testing, treatment, and care, which same testament was given by the Ghana AIDS Commission before the full glare of this country in our live telecast that they provide condoms, lubricants, and other aids for persons living with HIV who are known LGBT members, so that they will go about their absurd sexual experiences. And yet this government wants to make exemption under this law. That is not the law we sponsored in the 8th Parliament. That is not the law we are sponsoring today. If the government is minded to pass their own law of a sort, which will grant all these exemptions, the very places we are trying to clamp down on, that can be a separate law. But so long as the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill is concerned, these exceptions are alien. These are not the exceptions in the Ugandan bill that was passed. These are not the exceptions in the Senegalese bill that was passed. These are not the exemptions granted in any of the countries that we are going to host next week, who have passed these laws and whom we are proud to host them in this very chamber. We are planning to host them. When they pass their bill, they didn't give any of these exceptions, because that is where the real problem is. These are the people sponsoring, supporting, making these activities rather attractive behind the scenes and even sometimes overtly. And so if I find it highly problematic, any attempt by this House to push any of these exceptions in, we will resist it. And if the House will use their majority numbers to push it through, I, as a sponsor, will advise myself accordingly.
Very well. You are entitled to advise yourself. Yes, Majority Leader.
NDC is passing.
Majority Leader.
Because this is not a bill we introduced.
Honorable Fojo, can you resume your seat? Yes, Majority Leader, let me hear you. You've been on your feet for some time.
Mr. Speaker, I asked some very basic questions. If you had just insisted on my basic question being answered, all this long-winding attempt to redeem your image because Akufo-Addo refused to sign a bill that you passed will not arise. Will not arise. Mr. Speaker, I am saying, first and foremost, you talk about a bill that was presented to Akufo-Addo to sign, and then you talk about the bill before this House. Very basic question.
This bill, will you comport yourself and
this bill that is before this House, this bill that is before this House, Honorable Ntim Fojo, are you a sponsor of it or not? Yes or no? Did you sponsor this bill that is before this House or not? Your name is conspicuously captured here as the lead sponsor of the bill. Honorable Reverend John Ntim Fojo, MP for Asin South constituency, you appended your signature as a sponsor of this bill. So whatever changes,
Fojo, do you want me to walk you out of the chamber?
Whatever changes there are in this bill, different from what was contained in the bill presented to Akufo-Addo, the fact remains that today you remain a lead sponsor of this bill. When you read clause 9 of this bill, and you read clause 9 of the bill that was presented to Akufo-Addo to sign, to assent to, you will see that they are different. They are different. In clause 9 of this bill, you start by saying, subject to the Constitution. Subject to the Constitution. But if you go to the same clause in the previous bill, which was presented to Akufo-Addo, you yourself use the expression, and I'm trying to find the specific clauses, clause 9. You yourself use the expression. Yes, so in the previous bill, it is not clause 9, it is clause 12. In the previous bill, it is clause 12. So in clause 12 of that bill, you say a person who through media technology platforms, blah, 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 uses an electronic device. Then 2, a person who engages in or participates in an activity that promotes or supports sympathy for an act, and so on. 3, a person who offers premises and other movable. So you see, if you go to the clause 12 and 13 of your original bill, you did not say subject to the Constitution. You did not. You did not in any clause say subject to the Constitution. But in this particular bill, you sponsored it, and you now say in clause 9 that subject to the Constitution. And then in clause 10, you repeat it again, subject to the Constitution. And so we are asking you, when you yourself, the sponsor of the bill, you append your signature to a bill, and then you say subject to the Constitution, then we ask you, when you say subject to the Constitution, which specific provisions of the Constitution are you subjecting it to? And you start throwing tantrums. You start throwing tantrums. And the Speaker is guiding you by pointing you to specific provisions of the Constitution which this Parliament has no authority to pass a law violating. One of it is right to counsel. Right to counsel. Right to counsel. Right to counsel means that the counsel must have the space, the immunity to be able to defend you, to advocate for your rights. Mr. Speaker, that is why in this chamber, every member of Parliament is given immunity. Whatever you say here, you have immunity. The same way a lawyer advocating in court must also be given immunity. So when the committee goes and teases out specific constitutional provisions, which you yourself want to subject this bill to, you said that's subject to the Constitution. So when the committee goes and teases out those specific provisions and now proposes to us as a House that we should consider it, you cannot sit there and say that the majority side of this House. A committee of Parliament is a committee of this House. If they bring a proposal and you're opposed to it, get up and give us the grounds of your opposition. But don't start throwing tantrums and saying that the NDC government, how does the NDC government come into this? Because in the first place, this is a private member's bill. The government has no interest in it. We as members of Parliament are working on the bill as members of Parliament because you, our colleagues, have sponsored a bill that we are working on. So on what basis are you accusing the NDC government? Except that you are just seeking to equalize because Akufo-Addo will refuse to sign the bill that you presented. That's all that you are seeking to do. You believe that in saying all the things that you are saying, in doing all the things that you are doing, you will redeem Akufo-Addo. You cannot redeem Akufo-Addo in this matter. President Akufo-Addo is irredeemable in this matter. The bill that, and Mr. Speaker, take note of his expressions. He says that the bill that you presented to Akufo-Addo to sign, is it we who presented to Akufo-Addo to sign? You brought the bill to this house. The bill was passed for you the way you wanted, and then you are now accusing us of being the one who presented the bill to Akufo-Addo to sign. So when the bill was passed, you were not committed to it being presented to Akufo-Addo to sign. So you are lying to Ghanaians. You didn't believe that Akufo-Addo should sign the bill. You were sponsor of the bill. Today you are saying that the bill that you presented, are we the one who presented to Akufo-Addo? You brought your proposal, and then we passed your proposal for you. And you are now today accusing us of the ones who gave it to Akufo-Addo. How did we give it to Akufo-Addo?
Honourable members, all other members of parliament should resume their seats. Honourable members, I believe strongly that the bill that the sponsors brought to parliament was not passed the way it was brought. I was then the ranking member. When we look at the bill, we proposed several amendments to it. Some were carried by the House, some were not carried by this particular House. And as I indicated, law is dynamic. The bill as we are passing today, if you put it before the 10th Parliament, they will have a cause to amend certain provisions. That is why when a law is passed, sometimes less than a year, the law comes back to this particular House for amendment. Law is dynamic. So when amendment is before the House and you are opposed to the amendment, you get up to state your grounds for which you are opposed to the law. Let me give an example. The Securities and Intelligence Act, was it not amended by the previous regime? It was amended. There are several amendment bills that come before us. The various regime amended several laws, including Criminal and Other Offences Act. So law is not dynamic. If after 2 years you bring this particular law, if passed, back to Parliament, they will look at it and they will have reasons to amend some provisions of the law. Let us not behave as if law, when passed, is static. That's not the way it is. So, Honorable Anthony Imie, let me hear you. I've heard you, so I won't give you the chance. I'm giving the chance to Anthony Imie.
Very grateful, Mr. Speaker. I am of the view that in considering or passing this bill, we have to be mindful of the content which would finally come out with, in view of the fact that whatever is passed at the end of the day has to be subject to the Constitution. We have to be mindful so as not to include in the passage of this bill provisions which would end up being shot down by anyone who would go to the Supreme Court on constitutional grounds.
Sure.
In view of that, Mr. Speaker, I am of the view that the introduction of Clause 9, Subclause A, B, C, D, and F, as well as H, could be made to stand. My problem is with E and G. E and G. I think that E and G are not very clear. They are to some extent vague, and they might create the opportunity for some professionals to promote exactly what this bill is seeking to prohibit. The E and G, yes, E, as in England.
Have you read non-governmental organizations?
Oh, please.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, my argument is based on the fact that when the committee, Human Rights Committee, met at the Duke Room, I was there. Again, when we met at Fiesta, Constitutional Legal, I was present. And there were several revelations. We are aware of the fact that funding is sent to some of these bodies, organizations, and these funds are channeled into promoting exactly what this bill is seeking to prohibit. In my view, this bill is very clear. It in itself, even before this introduction of Clause 9, protects everybody. If you are an NGO, if you are a medical expert, and your conduct or your professional duty is not going to offend this law, you shouldn't have a problem. For that reason, Mr. Speaker, I suggest that we delete the E and G. E, for instance, is very vague. It says the provision of medical, surgical, psychological, or counseling services in accordance with accepted professional practices. Is the conversion of a male to female not an accepted professional practice? It is in some jurisdictions. It is, and it is very vague. If you look at the last two words, or the last word of the G, the care, treatment and care, what sort of care are we referring to? So respectfully, I would suggest that we maintain the 9 as it is, save that we delete the E and the G, which, in other words, would create avenues for some persons to operate under the guise of providing services for certain people or persons when, in actual fact, they will be promoting the very, very conduct that this bill is seeking to prohibit. I'm very grateful.
Thank you very much for that brilliant submission. In fact, this is what is expected at consideration stage of a bill. At consideration stage, we propose amendment and justify the amendment that we are proposing. Yes, you propose deletions, you propose additions, you propose amendments, you tidy up the provisions. And he made a categorical statement that we should be careful not to pass a law that tomorrow will be taken to court and be shot down on the principle of the very constitution that we are subjecting the law to. So let me hear Honorable Soini.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wish to commend the Honorable colleague who spoke just a while ago in relation to the subsection D and E under Clause 9. Mr. Speaker, I tend to have similar observations. The D is quite vague. When you talk of dissemination of information by a governmental body, non-governmental organization, it is quite specific. But when it comes to development partners or other bodies engaged in the delivery of health services or health-related programs, then it opens the gate wide for what we are legislating against to come through the window. And so, Mr. Speaker, I think that we should either delete that or modify it in such a way that it will not negate the purpose for which this bill is made. Again, if you look at E, the provision of medical, I don't have a problem. Psychological, I don't have a problem. or counseling services in accordance with accepted professional practice, I don't have a problem. But then when I see surgical, then I wonder again if that also doesn't allow room for, the changing of sexes for which we spoke earlier. Mr. Speaker, so you see, I think that we can either delete those, D and E, or, find the drafters to tighten it up in such a way that it will not negate the purpose for which we are passing this bill. Mr. Speaker, but that is not to say the whole of clause 9, A, B, C, F, G, H should be scrapped. Because, Mr. Speaker, if you look, for example, at F, the reporting of news of or current affairs by a media house or journalist in the ordinary course of journalism, I don't see how, such a provision will impact negatively on what we want to achieve with the passage of this bill. We have to encourage press freedom, and people must be able to, report freely on these matters when in the course of their duty without any fear that they will be picked up because they are reporting on it. And you also have C, the publication of an academic, scientific, or medical opinion. It should not be criminalized. It should not, the passage of this bill should not limit research into this unholy behavior and act. And so I think that we must approach it with an open mind. And Mr. Speaker, if you permit me, we, in the last parliament, those of us who were part of this, the sponsorship of this bill, approached this whole bill with good conscience. And I see that even in this current parliament, majority of us and majority of the sponsors are also still approaching this with good conscience. And it is born out of even the contribution that I just supported earlier, the contribution that was made earlier, which I support. Mr. Speaker, but perhaps if you indulge me, I'll give you one reason why, two reasons why I decided this time around not to be a sponsor of this bill, even though I fully and wholly support the passage of this bill. Mr. Speaker, I noticed when we started preparing to reintroduce this bill that the motive of some people, especially some of the lead sponsors, was not to pass this bill, but just to do propaganda with it. And Mr. Speaker, and that for me,
Honorable Soini.
Why? If the cap fits you, you wear it. If the cap fits you, you wear it.
Honorable Soini.
Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Soini, will you listen to me?
Thank you.
Withdraw the statement that the lead sponsors never intended the bill to be passed.
Mr. Speaker, I said I observed. Please, Mr. Speaker, listen to me well.
The observation.
Mr. Speaker, please.
Kindly withdraw the observation.
Mr. Speaker, this is a house of record, a house that members are allowed to express themselves freely. And Mr. Speaker, with this observation, I see nothing wrong with making
Honorable
a very
Sohini,
Mr. Speaker,
in doing this particular bill, I have nothing before me that suggests what you are saying. Will you withdraw?
Mr. Speaker, well, my observation cannot be before you to verify because it is my observation and I was with the committee. But if it pleases you, I withdraw it.
We speak to a matter of facts before the House.
Mr. Speaker, I didn't speak of facts. I spoke of observations.
That is why I'm saying that in this House, we speak to a matter of facts, not your observation and speculations.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I yield to you and I thank you.
It
but
is
Mr.
subsequently ordered to be
continue.
expunged from the record as if it does not exist.
Mr. Speaker, you see, when my colleague, Honorable Reverend Fojo, was going to contribute to this clause 9, Mr. Speaker, you noticed that he even fired before the target was presented. The records is there. He came prepared to engage in that propaganda. So he fired even before the clause was introduced. Mr. Speaker, when his attention was drawn, he sat back and waited for that particular clause to now be introduced. Mr. Speaker, when the clause was introduced,
Honorable
again,
let me hear Minority Deputy Minority Leader. Yes, Deputy
Thank you,
Minority
Mr.
Leader,
Speaker.
you have the
Mr.
floor.
Speaker, yes, Mr. Speaker, you have already ruled on statements of speculation. We are not going to allow that. Please, the intentions of people acting in a particular way may be misconstrued. So it is important that you don't make any final statement or be judgmental on what was said. Please, we want you to restrict your argument on facts. Thank you very much.
Yes, let me add that if the devil doesn't know the intention of a man, how come you are able to know somebody's intention?
Well, Mr. Speaker, if it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, and swims like a duck, you will not be wrong to assume and conclude that
is
it is
an
a duck.
assumption.
But I take the guidance, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I spoke of facts when I stated that my colleague, Honorable Ntim Fojo, actually rose to his feet to raise his objection even before the particular clause that he was objecting to was introduced. That's a fact. That is not out of this, that's a fact. Now, secondly, Mr. Speaker, as I take the guidance of Mama Pat, I want us all to, apply ourselves to that advice. Mr. Speaker, when my colleague again spoke and, pointed to these clauses, he spoke as if these clauses under consideration were presented by the NDC. Mr. Speaker, that was not a fact. That was his observation. He said the majority should pass it, the majority has presented it, and no one guided him at the time to stop insinuating and speak of the facts.
So
but
what
Mr. Speaker,
is your
I take the guidance,
proposed amendment to clause 9?
To apply ourselves to it. Mr. Speaker,
What's your proposed amendment to the clause under consideration?
Mr. Speaker, my appeal before my proposed amendment.
So I take it that you agree with Honorable Anthony Imie.
My appeal before my proposed amendment is that, Mr. Speaker, let us all continue to approach the discussions and the consideration of this bill with good conscience, with one intent: to safeguard the sanctity of our family values in this country and to pass it as one united house. Mr. Speaker, anybody whose intention is to use this bill for propaganda has already fallen flat, like they say outside. Flat, because the intention of this house is to ensure that we come together to safeguard our family values. So, Mr. Speaker, on this note, I support the proposal made by my honorable colleague who spoke before me, that we should delete D and E if we are unable to,
he is talking about
to close
E
the vagueness.
and G. He is talking about E and G.
No.
He is proposing that
I understood him, he was talking about D and E.
No, it's E and G. Are you not talking about E and G? You didn't mention
so
D.
Then, Mr. Speaker, on that, if that is the case, I had D and E. If that is the case, Mr. Speaker,
it's E and G.
Yes, so Mr. Speaker, in that case, we are simply adding D. We are simply adding D. But I disagree with G. Is that G? No, E. I disagree with, if he's proposing for F to be deleted, Mr. Speaker, I disagree.
Not F, he said G, E and G.
E as
that
in
is
England.
what he is proposing.
I say we agree with E
and
as
G
in England.
Godwin.
It must be deleted. We agree. And then we are adding D. We are adding D. We agree that E as in England should be deleted.
Let's do it this way. There is a room to further amend. So the proposer of Anthony Imie is to delete E and G. So this proposed amendment is for the consideration of the House. Let's treat that one first. G as in Ghana. Yes, I'll put a question on the proposed amendment by Honorable Anthony Imie. More crossing.
Yeah, what cross 9?
Very well. We'll take it one after the other. So, all those in favor of the proposed amendment to E by Anthony Imie. Okay. So I'm going to put a question one after the other, starting from A. So I'll put a question on clause 9, the additional clause in 9A. That is the provision of legal advice and legal representation. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. A is ordered to stand part of the bill. Now B, that is submission of representations made to a court, tribunal, parliament, commission of inquiry, or a body exercising judicial or quasi-judicial power. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 9B is accordingly ordered to stand part of the bill. Now C, the publication of academic, scientific, or medical opinion. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. No. The ayes have it. The C is ordered to stand part of the bill. Now the D. Other members, we take a decision by this House by a vote. When the ayes have it, you know the ayes have it. If the noes have it, the noes have it. So, D, the dissemination of information by governmental body or non-governmental organization, development partners, or other body engaged in the delivery of health services or health-related program. It is for the consideration of the House. Yes?
Yeah, Mr. Speaker.
The D.
Mr. Speaker, when it comes to D, we'll come back to C. When we come to D, Mr. Speaker, it says the dissemination of information by a governmental body, non-governmental organization, development partner, or other body engaged in the delivery of health services or health-related programs. So, Speaker, I do not believe that a governmental body will deliberately violate our laws, because a governmental body is bound by all the laws of the country. So I think that we should maintain D, except that non-governmental organization, development partner, or other body, because we don't control them, we don't control their objectives, and we don't control their agenda, we cannot tell if in the delivery of health services they will be promoting LGBTQ. So I think
give us a new rendition.
Yes, so I think that the rendition of D should be the dissemination of information by a governmental body engaged in the delivery of health services or health-related programs.
That is the amendment, proposed amendment before the House. Any further amendment? Yes, Tim Fojo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Right by your guidance and the fact that laws are not static and the fact that the bill before the Parliament must be looked at in its entirety, from clause 1 to clause 9, I never even got up. I agreed with all the amendments. I only respectfully got up when I had disagreement with the 9. And if you turn to the last clause, clause 31, we've made an omnibus clause there, which takes care of all that we are discussing. Mr. Speaker, and I invite you to look there. 31. That in 31, we are inserting a new clause, which says that nothing in this act shall prevent or limit the lawful duties or functions of any institution. That is there. And we have all endorsed it. Because we know very well that there will be lawyers, there will be judges, there will be quasi-judicial institutions, there will be government institutions, there will be SHRAJ, there will be other such institutions in whose legal discharge of their mandate may crisscross some of these legislation we are talking about. Such omnibus exemption has already been created. If the intendment is that those institutions and bodies are to do what? Legal duties, lawful duties. And it was for that reason, Mr. Speaker, I suggested that this additional problematic new clause to be inserted in clause 9 is not necessary because clause 31 has already made provision for it. If I will be understood by this House, nobody has any ill motive on this. Some of us have put our integrity, our reputation on the line.
Clause 31 of the bill.
And yet, because of this bill, because society will have, so let us proceed in that spirit.
The exemptions will be.
We have exemptions. We have omnibus exemptions in 31, which takes care of all these we are talking about.
The bill has no clause 31.
You are exempting it.
The bill is up to clause 19. So where are you getting clause 31 from?
You are exempting it.
Oh, Mr. Speaker, I may turn you to it.
Yes.
Please, page 41. Mr. Speaker, page 41. It is advertised clearly there. Page 41. It has been advertised there. It takes care of all these discussions. And that is what I've been trying to draw the attention of the House to. No one intends malice. It is about the norms, values of our tradition, of our culture, of our country. Nobody intends to do malice with this. Mr. Speaker, so that omnibus amendment is there. So we shouldn't knock heads on this matter at all and degenerate into political considerations.
Honourable members, I've looked at page 41. Page 41. That is a new clause. But the new clause is referring to institutions. It's referring to institutions.
Mr.
So
Speaker.
this institution will not operate to cover a lawyer representing, because that wouldn't have amounted to institution.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker.
Yes, majority leader, you have the floor.
I think we are making a lot of progress because the Honorable Intim Forger has given indications that he is not opposed. In fact, he says that he has already made provision for all the things we are discussing in an omnibus clause. He says that he is not opposed. He says that he anticipated all these circumstances and he decided that a provision should be made, except that his is an omnibus clause. But in this work that we have done on this bill, civil society groups, not LGBTQ people, because as for the prohibition of LGBTQ, as for the prohibition of advocacy of it, as for prohibition of, holding yourself out as being LGBTQ, those are clearly prohibited. But media raise strong issues because they think that we are violating the right to free expression. Professionals such as lawyers raise strong issues that we are violating their professional freedom and violating the rights of people to legal services. Then academics, universities. I was on the committee, you remember, the previous parliament, and these civil society groups made a very strong case. So what the committee is trying to do is to narrowly set out those exceptions where when you speak, you will not be considered as promoting or supporting LGBTQ. So that is why Speaker's proposal that we take the clauses one after the other. And if we are not convinced that this should fall as an exception, then we kick against it. We are already doing that.
In view of the new clause.
Yes. So I have provided some proposals. Yes.
Of the order paper.
Yes.
Do we delete the entire D? I'm talking about the entire D.
The entire D.
Performing their lawful duty.
Yeah, the entire D can be deleted.
Yes.
Because it is going to be governmental institutions.
Yes.
So once they are governmental institutions, they can come under the omnibus provisions of D.
Very well. Then move the necessary amendment.
So, Mr. Speaker, no, I don't need to move the amendment. I just need to abandon my amendment.
So that we do.
So that the
proposal is to delete the entire D.
So the proposal
is an amendment that must be
exactly.
moved. It's an amendment that must be moved.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, I move that we delete the entire D.
Very well. The proposal is to delete entire D. So I'll put a question in the absence of any further consideration. The question is, those in favor of D being deleted, say aye. Aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. Clause 9, the new clause 9, D is ordered to be deleted. Now E. Honorable Antonimie. Yes. So,
Mr. Speaker, I move for the deletion of E in the clause 9.
Yes. There is a proposal to delete E. Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I rise to object to the deletion of E because for medical reasons, for professional reasons, we can provide medical services to people who are LGBTQ. Surgical interventions can also be given to them. Psychological and counseling services can be provided. My problem is that we may be thinking that surgical is when we want to transform somebody from a man to a woman, or from a woman to a man. But it could be that somebody is already practicing it and has been counseled, has gone to jail, has come out transformed, and want to look like what he actually is. Please, you can't force somebody not to get there when he's already there. So you have to understand that some people go and put artificial breasts to look like women. If that person has been jailed 2 years, he comes out and needs a corrective intervention. Will you say he shouldn't get the corrective intervention to look like a real man? So if we want to prevent them from getting surgery, then it means that you still look like a lady. And people will accuse him again to go back to jail. So the proposal is that we add the word corrective surgery. And the corrective surgery is that...
Just little surgery.
Or, no, if we lose surgery, somebody may want to go and transform for the opposite, the wrong one. Let's make it that it should be a corrective surgery. So the whole clause should read in this way. The provision of medical, corrective surgical, psychological, and counseling services in accordance with accepted professional practice. That is how I propose it.
Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker,
I'll come to you.
I know we are all against LGBTQ and we are seeking to pass a legislation against it. But these exceptions pertain to certain professions, and we must be careful. If a doctor is sitting in his consulting room and two practitioners of, LGBTQ, one goes and forcefully tries to penetrate a part of the other partner, and let's say tears that part. If the doctor is sitting in his consulting room and they come to the doctor and he has to perform some surgery, stitching, and etc., if we don't make an exception, what it means is that the doctor cannot save their life for us to now later on be prosecuting them for committing an offense. So we need to insulate doctors so that when people come, they don't have to ask. Somebody fires, gets a gunshot wound, and then is rushed to the hospital. The doctor is not going to sit and be asking you, were you engaged in armed robbery? Are you an armed robber? Was there exchange of gunfire between, you and the police, as a result of which you sustained this injury? The doctor is not going to be asking those questions. Whether you were an armed robber or not, whether you got the injury in the course of armed robbery or not, the doctor's first primary responsibility is to save your life and provide you with the right medical treatment and counseling. It is later on that we will now be finding out exactly what you were doing that you sustained a gunshot wound. It's the same way. Whatever they were doing, if there's a medical situation and they run to a hospital, the first duty of the doctor is to provide treatment, provide surgical services, provide counseling services before we get to whether or not he should even go and report you to the police. That's why we must protect doctors. So this clause is to protect doctors and the members of the medical profession. That's my understanding. That's my understanding of this clause. I will want to listen to colleagues and what their views are, but that's my understanding of this clause.
Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The fundamental understanding I really pray that this whole House understands and comes to is the fact that fundamentally this bill protects every person, every professional, every institution or group of people whose acts do not promote activities prohibited under this act. So, for instance, even in our laws, a person who has been convicted for murder in prison is entitled to medical treatment and is intermittently, as and when the case arises, is taken to the doctor. So how can anybody suggest that this bill is not protecting a doctor? But what we are saying is that the very provision we are talking about in the Speaker 9, 1 and 2 is saying that persons, institutions, or people who do these things to promote. How is a doctor who is in his office, who is going to do, administering chemo, for instance, for a patient who has anal cancer as a result of LGBT, be deemed as guilty under this law? None. He's not promoting, because he is seeing to a patient who has their fundamental right of seeking medical care. So what we are saying is that the moment what this crime has the lawyer committed, if anybody accused of undertaking any such act, accused, seeks representation, the bill does not prescribe that. That misconstruction should not be allowed. What we are saying is that it is only when you introduce this exception, what you are saying is that when the person is a lawyer, you are exempting him because he's a lawyer providing legal services, and he can do anything that promotes this act, because that is what. Because clause 1 and 2 says that, Mr. Speaker, if I may read 9, 1 and 2 again, says, subject to this Constitution, a person shall not produce, procure, market, broadcast, disseminate, publish, or distribute through a medium, technological platform, technological account, or any other means, or a film, the internet service, an electronic device, or any other device capable of electronic storage or transmission or material for purposes of promoting an act prohibited. So if in all these categories under 9 that we want to exempt, the moment you exempt, if you read it together, what you are saying that any person
because of academic,
by reason of being an academic, by reason of being a lawyer, can undertake acts which will promote, because if he does it and he doesn't promote, he is not culpable. That is all I'm trying to say.
You see, the interpretation that you are giving is right. You understand? That is the interpretation that you are giving on it. Somebody is likely to interpret it otherwise. There is a lawyer, because we call some lawyers criminal lawyers. Not because they themselves are criminals, but because they are fan of defending criminals. They tempt them to be criminal. You understand? So if somebody is in the habit of always defending the LGBTQ people, you may think the person is also an LGBTQ. So in line with the interpretation that you are giving, that by the operations of the law they are already exempted, there is nothing wrong if you make a categorical provision in line with the interpretation that you are giving. It's not wrong.
That's because you're rightly so.
That's why people say for the purposes of emphasis. For the purposes of emphasis, do that. That is why we are doing all these things. So the fact that it is categorically stated here does not mean it derogates from the provision in 2.
I agree. We are speaking the same language.
The same language.
But what I'm saying is that if you leave it this way, all that it does is that clause 9(1) and 2 just states that any person at all shall not promote, engage, advocate for an act prohibited under this act.
Yes.
Then engage in, participate in. So yes. The moment you say that if you are legal advice or legal representation, what that by interpretation says is that you can engage in or participate in because
yes.
you have been exempted.
No, you see, and that is why the A is saying the provision of legal advice or legal representation. So it is limited to legal advice or legal representation. So that does not insulate a lawyer who participates in LGBTQ activity. So long as it is not legal advice, it's not legal representation in court, you can be caught.
Mr. Speaker, the dangers with all these is what in the omnibus clause we had made provision that so long as the activity of the professional, the institution are legal, lawful, you see, they are exempted.
You see
the interpretation you do, for instance,
the interpretation that you put on it. Your interpretation is right, but it's not everybody that will have the understanding that you have, and you are interpreting it that particular way. If you give this provision for even 2 lawyers, they are likely to interpret it in a different way. Somebody can hold a view that once you have written an opinion in support of LGBTQ, you are supporting or you are promoting LGBTQ. How can you be a lawyer writing an opinion in support of the LGBTQ activity? Somebody can interpret it that way. That is why the provision is saying that so long as it's within the provision of legal advice or legal representation in court, you are not caught by the law. So this and what you are saying, that there is a clause that allows the legal services and the legal advice, it is the same thing that we are talking about.
In the same way, the other possible interpretation also is that some lawyers may now boldly undertake advocacies and promotions under the guise,
because this provision,
because there is not express protection.
It's not talking about advocacy. It is never talking about advocacy. They say legal advice or legal representation. And at what point do you do legal presentation? Is here A, the provision of legal advice or legal representation? Advocacy is not included. So if you interpret advocacy to include a lawyer speaking in favor of a client in court, then it means that when I go to court speaking for my client, you can tell me to be an advocacy that I'm doing for that matter. I should also go to prison because I'm engaged in LGBTQ activity. Meanwhile, I am performing my professional responsibility as a lawyer. If you interpret the legal representation to mean advocacy, then it means that somebody with LGBTQ do not have a right to a lawyer, which is violating the provisions of the Constitution in Article 14(2). That is why I agree with Honorable Anthony Imi that we should be careful not to pass this particular law, and tomorrow they will take it up in court.
Mr. Speaker, okay.
Let me hear Honorable Soini from this
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So
Mr. Speaker,
we are moving from the E. We are now on E.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I have a new rendition for E, but before I share that, I just want to agree and remind all of us that our legal system operates on the assumption that one is innocent until proven guilty. Every other person, since when did I act like I didn't? No. Sometimes you behave that way.
Please address the chair.
Mr. Speaker, that is, tried knowledge, that any accused person is assumed to be innocent until proven guilty. In that case, such a person is entitled to legal representation or legal advice. And so in providing so, it cannot be criminalized. It cannot also be said.
Hold it. If the bill is not criminalizing that, and that has been stated categorically, does he offend the bill?
What's the problem? Because see, the exemption, Mr. Speaker, if I can move on, the exemption, I think was carefully thought through, and that is why advocacy is even removed. It talks about legal advice or legal representation, and legal advice and legal representation cannot amount to advocacy. And so clearly, it is just to allow for the professional duty of the lawyer in relation to our jurisprudence that says that a person is considered innocent until pronounced guilty. Mr. Speaker, let's not also even forget that in this same law, even people who are accused of that practice, even if they are guilty, are also they also have some reliefs. For example, if you attack an LGBT person, you are subject to prosecution. In that case, it is a relief that they can also seek through a representation that they get from a lawyer, or advice that they get from a lawyer. And so let us understand it in that context. But Mr. Speaker, my new proposed rendition for E is that we can look at it this way: the provision of professional, medical, surgical, psychological, or counseling services in accordance with law, or in accordance with this act.
That one.
No, that is why I start by saying the provision of professional.
Yes.
Professional medical.
The rendition provided by the doctor.
Yes.
That it should be the provision of corrective, medical.
But it will not.
Surgical.
Mr. Speaker, corrective may not always be professional.
Thank you.
So that's why I'm saying that it should be professional, medical, surgical, and counseling in accordance with law.
Satisfied doctors who can give medical and surgical. Thank you.
So that's why I said so professional. So you qualify these services with the word professional. So that it's only doctors, professional doctors who can do that.
Let's look at it this way. A medical doctor can act professionally by giving artificial breast. He's acting professionally. And that will be delving into an area of LGBTQ.
So that's why, Mr. Speaker, I ended my statement by saying in accordance with this act.
Yes, if it is...
so in this act, he cannot do that.
If it is a corrective in the sense that the person is already having the LGBTQ breast and have realized that this is not what to do, I now want it corrected. So the doctor is permitted under the law to do that particular correction.
Mr. Speaker.
Let me hear from the doctor.
Okay.
And then I'll hear from the former Minister for Education.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think that qualifying the surgical with corrective is also not right. Mr. Speaker, when you look at some of the issues that come up, it is not necessarily corrective surgery alone. People who practice end up with, like you said, I think someone mentioned anal cancer. Sometimes they have anal tears. Sometimes there's a lot of surgeries I do on people who practice LGBTQ. And just because I'm operating on them doesn't mean I'm advocating. But when they come to me with a myriad, I mean, I can't describe some of the things we do. If you qualify it with corrective, you are limiting my ability to treat that person and provide the cure for that person, regardless whether I agree with the behavior or not. So let's leave it as surgical, because there's a lot of, it's not about breast and the gender change alone. There's a lot of things that come up, Mr. Speaker. I can go into details of some of the things we have done, and some of these are real clinical, has nothing to do with LGBT issues, but it has to do with maybe some of the practices, the anal tears, the anal prolapses. There's all kinds of things that happen, Mr. Speaker. So I don't agree that we should qualify it. I think we should leave it open and let the surgeons make the decision, just like the lawyers are making the decision to represent them. Let the doctors make the decision to represent them and provide them with the proper medical care.
Very well. Former Minister for Education.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for finally giving me the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, speaking on the clause we are discussing now, the challenge you have is how do you distinguish between the process that promotes and the one that doesn't promote? So far, the medical issues are concerned. But, Mr. Speaker, these assumptions sometimes present major challenges. For example, on C, when we said publication, maybe we are using the academia term publication, which is general research. Otherwise, anybody can publish any book on these practices and put it on the shelf to be sold anywhere. But I think when we were reading this, we were looking at research publication and not just anybody publishing anything and selling it anywhere to children. So if we are not careful, the clause, then the assumption then give license for people to do what we don't want them to do, because you can go to any bookshop and the books will be everywhere because we exempted publication. We did not say research. I think we were thinking more about professors doing research and publishing, and not necessarily blanket provision publication, which now exempts anybody to go out there.
But there is an academic here.
He said,
there's an academic.
No, he said the publication. The publication.
Yes, it says the C says if publication of an academic, scientific, or medical.
Yes. But if you are doing curriculum, you remember recently the issues came up.
Yes.
Somebody can look at an academic. He's publishing a book that students will use. It's academic. It's not research publication. So in academia,
so what do you think would have been the correct rendition?
I think it's something where we say research. If it's research, otherwise we take it out. Because some people will hide behind
the publication of an academic, scientific, medical research funding. Okay, we'll come back to that.
Because otherwise people will hide behind the publication and we are in trouble.
Nice one.
Very well. When we are putting the question on it variously, move your amendment for the consideration of the House. Yes?
No.
So let me hear him and I'll come to you.
That's the mighty man.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes, you have the floor.
Mr. Speaker, I'm supposed to speak to facts, and that's what I'm going to do. Our friends in opposition,
It's part of it.
passed a bill, and in that bill, in the 8th Parliament, where I was majority leader, there were several discussions on certain amendments, and they insisted, Mr. Speaker, what they are doing now with this committee amendment is to dilute, Mr. Speaker. If I look at all the proposed clauses,
Honorable,
Mr. Speaker, I must finish.
Leader.
This practice where the majority leader gets his say, and if it's a 10 of somebody, he will find a way of stopping.
Please listen to me. The position that you are stating has been canvassed in this
Mr.
House.
Speaker, I'm making my point.
It has
Mr.
been
Speaker,
canvassed by
Mr.
the
Speaker,
House.
I will
go by the rules.
Mr. Speaker, I'm going by the rules.
Please, kindly resume your seat. Kindly. I'm using the word kindly.
Mr. Speaker.
Kindly resume your seat.
Mr. Speaker.
Kindly, with all due respect,
everything be
kindly resume your seat. Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I can never prevent you from saying what you want to say.
This is your start.
But you started with a statement that,
and then expand from
whilst we were in opposition, that this side of the House passed a bill.
That's not fact.
That's not a fact.
Yes, you say you are speaking to facts.
That's not a fact. The bill was unanimously passed by this House. The bill was unanimously passed by this House at the time that you even claimed to be in the majority. You claimed to be in the majority at that time. And you are saying that we passed a bill. That we passed a bill. And that now we are in government, and then we have come and we are trying to water down a bill. Mr. Speaker, these are not facts. These are not facts. So what I can assure you is that as for this bill, we will pass it. We will pass it, and no matter how many objections are raised in this chamber, we will stay here and pass this bill so that the president can give his assent to it, to the glory of God.
Yes, you have the floor. Take on board his concern that the House pass the bill
Mr. Speaker, I want all of us to accord ourselves that respect. I can read a room. I should be allowed to make my point. Mr. Speaker, in all humility, I can read a room. I am making my point, and I would act within the laws. I shouldn't be instructed. Mr. Speaker, I am submitting that the bill that the sponsors have proposed with this so-called amendment by the committee, Mr. Speaker, our friends who are in government today oppose every amendment
Honorable Minority
in the
Leader.
8th Parliament.
Honorable
today,
Minority Leader.
They want to pass
Honorable
a bill,
Minority Leader, you cannot refer to a proposed amendment from a committee of this House as so-called.
Mr. Speaker,
you
for
know
want
that
of
is
a
not
better
proper.
Word, Mr. Speaker, anytime I talk, you interrupt. Even when the majority leader gets it wrong,
if you use a
you don't
language
interrupt
that
it.
is not proper, I will have to draw your attention to
Mr.
it.
Speaker, the majority leader used
I
lawlessness
will continue
against
to draw your attention to
it.
it. You cannot refer to a proposed amendment emanating from a committee of this House as so-called.
Mr. Speaker, that's fine. I take guidance from you. That's fine. Mr. Speaker, I disagree with with the attempt by the committee of this House to use amendment to water down the very bill that our friends, when they were in opposition, pushed it on the country. Mr. Speaker, that was their argument. And where is the principle? Mr. Speaker, where is their principle? They sponsored the bill. May I finish? May I finish? You see, Mr. Speaker, the majority leaders are Democrats. Sit down, sit down. I listen to you in silence. So you sit down. Mr. Speaker, when they were in opposition, they sponsored the bill. They resisted every single amendment. Mr. Speaker, today, they are now saying that through a committee, they are amending, Mr. Speaker, the clause 9, the very amendment they rejected in opposition. Today that they are in government, they are claiming that this is the bill they want. Mr. Speaker, they are virtually rendering the very thing they propose odious. Mr. Speaker, the very thing that they and Ghanaians, the people of Ghana can see through the double standard, the lack of principle. And I'm putting it to you, Majority Leader, that your side lack principle. Your side lack principle, and that is a political statement coming from this side of the House to me. How can you, the very law that you wanted signed today, when it's your turn, you are amending, so you know that you can take away all these clauses? Where is Sam George? Where is Sam George? Where is Sam George? This is political double standard, lack of principle, and now you want to water it down. So you don't want it. So you don't want it. And you want to claim you want to pass it. You are passing no law. We can read through your double standard, Majority Leader. That is why I came back into the chamber to deal with your double standard. You want to intimidate Honorable Ntim Fordjour, virtually render his proposal odious. That's what you're doing. And then you say when you finish, you send it to the president to sign for the media. You pass LGBT. When you know you pass no law, you want to confuse us like you did on the e-levy, like you are doing on Doomso and everything. Mr. Speaker, we can read the room. We can read the room.
Honorable Minority Leader, are you done?
Speaker,
Yes,
I am not done. I'm
Leader.
making my argument. If you want to call him, you can call him.
Let me hear
When
you.
it gets to his mischief, you start giving some smiles. Let us see your smile, your mischief smile.
Honorable
Or this time you
Minority
frown.
Leader, let me hear
We
you.
can read you, Majority Leader.
Minority Leader, why are you doing this?
To him, not to you. To him. Mr. Speaker, to him. He does it to me. To him, not to you.
Why? You can't do this.
Intimidating my colleagues.
You
He's been
address
intimidating them.
the chair.
Mr. Speaker.
That is the
Mr.
modality.
Speaker,
Is
stay
that not
out
the
of this.
modality?
I am responding to the Majority
But you
Leader.
address the chair.
Mr. Speaker, I'm addressing
Is that
him.
not so?
He's been intimidating my side all
that
the
not
while
so?
I was away.
Please,
so
you
I
have
am
the floor.
back to face him.
Minority Leader, kindly resume your
Very
seat.
well,
You
Mr.
have the
Speaker.
floor.
I'm back to face him with his mischief. You say you are passing a law. Which law? Mofia Mobana Bo.
Mr. Speaker, the minority leader will always look for an opportunity to make the headline news
On a Friday.
on a Friday. I mean, he wants City FM to play this voice this evening to create the impression that something has happened, something untoward has happened. Mr. Speaker, I am surprised that the members on the NPP side
Who are calling for immediate
who were pushing that this bill must be passed today are doing everything possible to frustrate the passing of this bill. Mr. Speaker, the committee is a committee of this House. The committee is a committee of this House. In fact, in your absence, a member of the committee who belongs to your side got up and supported the proposals. He had just a few exceptions. He got up here and then supported the amendments. He said the amendments make sense. He supports it because the amendment is seeking to protect the freedom of lawyers to provide legal representation and the right of accused persons to get legal representation. The freedom of media houses to practice and report. The freedom of doctors to provide medical services irrespective of the circumstances under which you needed the medical services. Those are the clauses that we are discussing. So when you run into the chamber, you can argue, you can look at the clauses. If you have opposition, some of us have had opposition to some of the clauses. We've moved for deletion and it's been deleted. But this your attitude of coming in and shouting left and right as if we're engaged in a shouting match doesn't help. Doesn't help. Nobody in this country will be deceived. As for the last election, you lost it. You cannot cure your loss of the last election by any kind of gimmicks in this chamber. It will not help. You had an excellent opportunity. We proposed the bill. Reverend Ntim Forger and co, your members, joined and sponsored the bill. And when we debated the bill, nobody in this house,
was the leader of the house.
Nobody in this house under your leadership opposed it. The day we were voting on it, we voted on it unanimously. Mr. Speaker, you were not opposing anything. You went and brought the same bill back. You changed the clauses. You appended your signature as a sponsor to the bill. It was referred to the committee. As for watering it down, this is a proposal coming from the committee. You are free to argue for or against it. If you are against it, we'll put it to a vote. If you are for it, we'll put it to a vote. At the end of the day, the basic question is, if a person accused of LGBTQ is put before the courts, should that person have a right to a lawyer? That's the basic question. The basic question is, if a person accused of LGBTQ goes to the courts, goes to a hospital, should the person be denied medical services? No. The issue is, a journalist, can he report a matter relating to LGBTQ in the media? If a journalist or a media house, let's say City FM, Joy FM, reports matters relating to LGBTQ, should we accuse them of supporting or promoting or whatever? If an academic does a research on LGBTQ, can he publish the research findings? These are the questions that have been raised, which the committee that we referred the matter to have considered and brought us specific proposals for us to consider. How does that amount to the NDC government or NDC members of parliament watering down the provisions of the bill? How does that amount to we watering down the provisions of the bill? And when the bill was transmitted to President Akufo-Addo, if he did not threaten the clerk not to desist from transmitting the bill to him, he could have taken the bill, he could have done this analysis within 7 days and then recommended to Parliament as constitutionally dictated that he thinks that we should amend these clauses of the bill. We would have reconsidered it under the provisions of the Constitution. So please, let us work on it. There are specific proposals on the floor. You must take those proposals. You are going to debate it. We've debated it. We've at least agreed on 3 of them. We have agreed to delete the 4th one, and I believe we are on the 5th clause. We're on the 5th sub-clause. That is E. So, Mr. Speaker, we're on E. Mr. Speaker, I urge you to let us proceed on E and take a decision on E.
Let me hear him finally, and then we can take decision on E.
Mr. Speaker, with respect, the majority leader in all his submissions made misleading representation. Mr. Speaker, he's making reference to the 8th Parliament and that bill, which was sponsored by his side. Mr. Speaker, these issues about the media, look me in the eye, majority leader. I was in that seat. I proposed those amendments. Your side rejected it. Right here, when the question was put by Speaker Bagbin, you were part, you were in the middle bench, you rejected. Why are you bringing these proposals? Mr. Speaker, the NDC must tell the people of Ghana the truth. Tell the people of Ghana the truth, that you don't have the courage to pass the very bill you pass in opposition. The very bill you propose in opposition, you don't have the courage. And I dare you to ever present that same bill. You can't. You see your double standards? You see your unprincipled political position? Today, you think you can use your numbers, hide under a committee's report to water down and change the very thing that you wanted passed when you were in opposition. Today, you are in government. You've realized that that bill was poisonous. So you want to change it. And the majority leader wants to tell me that this bill is being passed. So you are passing an LGBT, anti-LGBT. Are you sure? Are you very sure? Because you pass a bill to win an election, you want to deceive the religious leaders, you want to deceive our traditional authorities, you want to deceive civil society. Who do you want to confuse? As far as I am in this chamber and I know what you did in the 8th Parliament, and I know the records, I won't allow you to deceive anybody. Majority leader, I won't allow you to deceive anybody. These clauses, this is the mischief. You are using the committee as your alter ego. You are using the committee as your alter ego. Why are you not maintaining the text of your previous proposal? Why? This, what Ntim Fordjour submitted, together with colleagues, is the very text that you got passed in the 8th Parliament. Why the sudden change of mind? NDC. Why the sudden change of mind? May you be seated. I allowed you to make your submission. Don't worry, you sit down, you sit down, you sit down. I won't take you sit down. Mr. Speaker, may you encourage the majority leader to sit down. He's not a Democrat. The majority leader is not a Democrat. He does not tolerate divergent views. He should sit down and listen, just as I listen to him. Mr. Speaker, I submit that your arguments are in bad faith. Majority leader, in bad faith. You are doing the mystery politics. You want to deceive the people of Ghana.
Leader,
Who told you?
Resume your seats?
Who told you, majority leader?
Both majority and minority leader, can they resume your seats?
You don't want to.
Both minority and majority leader, can they resume your seats?
We would face you on every part.
Can they resume your seats?
We will not allow you to deceive
minority
the people of
leader,
Ghana.
resume your seats.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Ntim Fordjour, in the 8th Parliament, were you in opposition? Ntim Fordjour, were you in opposition? Were you a sponsor of the bill?
No, Mr. Speaker.
You see, it's an indication of the fact that some statements are not factually accurate. It is a clear indication that some statements are factually inaccurate. It is inaccurate in the sense that Ntim Fordjour was a sponsor in the 8th Parliament and he's still a sponsor in the 9th Parliament. So it couldn't be true that the bill was sponsored by the opposition. That is a factual inaccuracy. It cannot be correct. Now, back to the bill. we are considering clause 9E. We are considering clause 9E. Fortunately, I have the bill as introduced by the sponsors in the 8th Parliament. I have the bill as passed by the 8th Parliament. And I have the bill as now introduced in the 9th Parliament. I would have expected that the current sponsors of the bill will bring in totality the bill that was passed in the 8th Parliament. But they themselves deem it fit not to bring it the way it is. Some clauses have changed. Some clauses have changed. Where was there a change in some of the clauses? Now, the bill that we have passed, what is clause 12 saying? And the current bill before us, what is clause 12 saying?
Mr. Speaker, I think that the minority leader has to pay attention.
Don't try to deceive me.
Minority leader has to pay attention.
To which one?
Minority leader. Minority leader. Minority leader. Mr. Speaker, you cannot be behaving like a spoiled child. You cannot be behaving like a spoiled child. Just come into the chamber and start throwing your hands left and right. You can't do that. You think that by this way you'll be able to create a scene nationally and say that there's an attempt to water down the bill. This kind of politics is childish. This kind of politics is childish. No, this kind of politics is childish. We've gone beyond it. Ghanaians can see through your politics. Mr. Speaker, you have brought a bill that you say subject to the Constitution.
Which Constitution?
That's what the bill says. The bill signed by Ntim Forjo. This bill signed by Ntim Forjo says subject to the Constitution. A person shall not produce, procure. Then he goes to clause 10 and says subject to the Constitution. So what Speaker is saying is that you yourself, you changed the bill and brought it back to this House. So, Mr. Speaker, let's take a decision on E and then continue.
Yes, we will withdraw so that you yourself.
Here, the Chief Whip. Let me hear the Chief Whip. He's been up for some time.
But you also just came.
Speaker,
Chief Whip, you have the floor.
Who is saying that I just came? You have rather just arrived. Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Chief Whip, address the chair.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I have listened to the minority leader, and I am scandalized to hear the minority leader make certain suggestions. Mr. Speaker, in the 8th Parliament, when the bill was introduced and passed, appropriately passed, he led the House, and we passed it. And it was transmitted to the office of the presidency. It was contained, that fact was contained in a letter to this House that we should cease and desist from further presentation. Yes, I will. History is important. Mr. Speaker, the bill has been represented to this House. The House has the power to make amendments. Now, yes, this House Please. The Honorable Minority Leader, please. I listen to you in silence. No, but listen, I listen to you in silence. We are classmates. We are contemporaries. No, we are classmates. We are study mates. We graduated together. We practiced together. Be tolerant a bit.
Honorable Minority Leader, I have not given you the floor.
Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Minority Leader, I have not given you the floor.
Mr. Speaker, the committee, no, I'm not blackmailing you, I'm stating facts.
Honorable Minority Leader, I have not given you the floor.
Mr. Speaker, the committee was tasked to consider the bill as presented by the sponsors. And we engaged. Stakeholders appeared before the committee. Proposals were made. Eventually,
Honorable Minority Leader, please, I'm exercising some restraint. Yes,
Mr. Speaker,
you have the floor.
Mr. Speaker, in responding to the call by the Minority Leader, if they had listened to the position of the Majority Leader, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama would have assented to this bill long ago. But they disagreed.
But are you aware this matter was debated and the Speaker ruled on it?
Mr. Speaker, exactly.
So
Mr.
once
Speaker,
the matter came to the floor,
Mr. Speaker,
Honorable Chief Whip, once the matter came to the floor,
yes,
and ruling has been delivered,
exactly,
I think that chapter is foreclosed.
Good. Mr. Speaker, so it is immaterial the points they are raising. Once the bill has been presented to the House, it must necessarily go through the terms of enactment, which we are doing. We are at the consideration stage. Before here, the committee was tasked to consider and engage stakeholders. They brought memos. They came to speak to the committee on the terms of the memos. Proposals were made. Committee adopted some of the proposals. It is some of those proposals that find itself as proposed amendments in this report. The committee report had been laid, debated on this floor, and adopted. Now the procedure is that when amendments are proposed by the committee and is adopted by the House, they must be advertised as part of consideration. So if any member, including my co-sponsor, is of the firm view that there's other position other than what has been advertised, what you do is to offer those amendments on your feet, or you go and prepare the amendments and get them advertised as part of the committee's amendments. But to keep suggesting that the position taken by the committee is wrong, that is not how we do this. If you think that you have a position that should find expression in the law, by all means, advertise, get it advertised, and let the House consider it. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, we are spending nearly 1 hour.
Honorable members, I think we will close the chapter on any suggestions and restrict ourselves to what we are supposed to do at consideration stage. So we are now on clause 9E. The argument before us is to maintain the provision as it is. Therefore, my duty is to put the question and let the House take decision. As many as are in favor of clause E, say aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. Clause E is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause F. Clause F. Yes, clause F is under consideration. If you are not going to talk about clause F, I don't think I will give you the floor. Yes, Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, there's a fundamental issue to be addressed. This bill, in its current state, with all the amendments, will not amount to the same bill that the NDC wanted.
Honorable Minority Leader, you are completely out of order.
They don't want the same bill to be signed by President
Please,
Mahama.
you are out of order. Clause F. I'll put a question on clause F. As many as are in favor, yes, clause F.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to propose a deletion of the entire amendment under clause 9. I so move.
Honorable Ntimfojo, the House cannot take decision on clause 9A, B, C, D, E, and then you at this stage be proposing that same be deleted. You may come at second consideration. So I'll put a question on F. As many as are in favor of clause F, standing part of the bill, say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. F is ordered to stand part of the bill. Now, G.
Mr. Speaker, we had earlier agreed that pursuant to the omnibus provision, which protects every institution performing a lawful function, then clause G
be deleted.
The performance of public health functions, including HIV and AIDS prevention, testing, treatment, and care, will be legitimate public functions, and therefore we don't need to expressly make provision for it.
Very well.
So
let's delete G. As many as are in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause G is accordingly ordered to be deleted. Now H.
Mr. Speaker, given that H is already protected in the Evidence Act, it becomes unnecessary for us to repeat it, because we are not expressly amending the Evidence Act, which provides protection for those categories. So I think that we can equally delete clause H.
The proposal is to delete H. It's for the consideration of the House. In the absence of any further proposal, I'll put a question. As many as are in favor of the deletion of H say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause H is ordered to be deleted. I will then put a question on entire clause 9. Yes, former Minister for Education.
Mr. Speaker, you are going to get back on the amendment of the C.
Yes. He earlier proposed that there should be publication of an academic, scientific, medical research finding
in an approved journal.
Yes, research finding.
In an approved journal.
In an approved journal. So, honourable members, I'll put a question on the proposed amendment by the former Minister of Education, Honourable Educhum. As many as are in favour say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. I will then put a question on entire clause 9. As many as are in favor say aye. Those against say no. Honourable members, the new clause 9, as variously amended, is ordered to stand part of the bill. Now, clause 10.
Prohibition of propaganda of promotion of and advocacy for activities directed at a child.
Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, clause 10, amendment proposed, subclause 1, delete and insert the following, as captured at page 37 in paragraph LXXIV. I so
move. Members, the proposed amendment is for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, in the absence of any further amendment, I'll put a question. As many as are in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The proposed amendment to clause 10 by the chairman of the committee is ordered to stand part of the bill. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, again, clause 10, amendment proposed, subclause 2, delete paragraph A, B, C, or D, and insert paragraph A or B. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, the proposed amendment is for the consideration of the House. Any further amendment? In the absence of any further amendment, I'll put a question. As many as are in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 10 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Now I'll put a question on entire clause 10 as variously amended. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The clause 10 of the bill is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 11.
Prohibition of funding, sponsorship, or promotion of prohibited acts.
Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, we do not have any proposed amendment.
It is for the consideration of the House. Any amendment? In the absence of any amendment, I'll put a question to clause 11. As many as are in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 11 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 12.
Disbandment of LGBTQAP plus group, society, association, club, or organization.
Mr. Speaker, no proposed amendment.
Honourable members, no proposed amendment to clause 12 from the committee. It's for the consideration of the House. Any amendment? In the absence of any amendment, I'll put a question. As many as are in favor of clause 12 standing part of the bill say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 12 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 13.
Prohibition of LGBTQAP plus group, society, association, club, or organization.
Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, no proposed amendment.
It is for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, any proposed amendment? In the absence of any proposed amendment, I'll put a question on clause 13. As many as are in favor of clause 13 standing part of the bill say aye. Those against say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. Clause 13 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Yes, Majority Leader, any indication?
Mr. Speaker, yesterday our friends on the other side were demanding that we should pass the bill yesterday. I believe that we can pass it today. Yeah. So let's continue. Because the bill is not, it's a skeletal bill, 19 clauses. We're already at 15. So if we push, we can pass it today. So, Mr. Speaker, let's continue.
Very well. Clause 14.
Prohibition of adoption, order for LGBTQAP plus persons.
Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, clause 14, amendment proposed, delete and insert the following as captured partly on page 37 and page 38 per paragraph LXXXVI. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, the proposed amendment by the chairman of the committee to clause 14 is for the consideration of the House. In the absence of any other amendment, I will put a question on the chairman's amendment. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The proposed amendment to clause 14 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Now to the entire clause 14. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Honourable members, clause 14 as amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 15.
Prohibition of grant of fosterage for LGBTQAP plus persons.
Chairman of the committee.
Clause 15, amendment proposed, delete and insert the following as captured on page 38 at paragraph LXXXVII. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, the proposed amendment is for the consideration of the House. Any further amendment? In the absence of any further amendment, I'll put a question. As many as are in favor of clause 15 standing part of the bill say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 15 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Now, clause 16.
Duty to report and prohibition of extrajudicial treatment.
Chairman of the committee.
Speaker, clause 16, amendment proposed, delete and insert the following as captured partly on page 38 and 39 at paragraph LXXXVII. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
All members, the proposed amendment by the chairman of the committee is for the consideration of the House. Any other proposal? Honourable members, in the absence of any other proposal, I'll put a question. As many as are in favor, say aye. Aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. The proposed amendment by the chairman of the committee to clause 16 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Now I'll put a question on entire clause 16. As many as are in favor of clause 16 as amended standing part of the bill, say aye. Aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. Clause 16 as amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 17.
Regulations.
Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, new clause. Amendment proposed after clause 16. Add the following new clause. Mr. Speaker, same is captured at page 39 and it's paragraph XXXIX. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Honourable members, the new clause is for the consideration of the House. Any further amendment to the new clause? I'll put a question. As many as are in favor, say aye. Aye. Those against, say no. Honourable members, the new clause is accordingly ordered to stand part of the bill. Yes, clause 17, Chairman.
Regulations.
Mr. Speaker, clause 17, amendment proposed, opening phrase, line 1. Delete may and insert shall within 12 months of the coming into force of this act. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, the proposed amendment is for the consideration of the House. Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, which clause are you amending? Because I had a proposal to delete something in the new clause. That's amendment proposed under clause 16. Add the following new clause: duty to report. And duty to report is now 17 subclause 1. A person who has knowledge that an offense is committed under this act shall report the commission of the offense to a police officer.
I have put a question on the new clause.
You've already put a question on the new clause?
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, it is not harmful because we earlier deleted reference to the Evidence Act. If you look at the new clause 7, subclause 3, this section does not apply to information privilege under the Evidence Act. So I thought that consistent with what we did earlier.
I can only direct the drafters to consistently take care of this. So I will now put a question on clause 17. The proposal by the chairman of the committee in the absence of any other amendment. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The proposed amendment by the chairman of the committee is ordered to stand part of the bill. Now I'll put a question on the entire clause 17. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 17 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 18.
Interpretation.
Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, clause 18, amendment proposed, add the following new definition. Interpretation for bisexual, line 3, after sex, add and who engages in sexual or romantic activity with a person of the same sex and a person of the opposite sex. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, the proposed amendment by the chairman of the committee is for the consideration of the House. I'll put a question. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The first proposed amendment by the chairman of the committee to clause 18 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 18, amendment number XCII.
Mr. Speaker, clause 18, amendment proposed, add the following new definition. Advocacy means the sustained encouragement or support of an act prohibited under this act. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
It is for the consideration of the House. Any further amendment? In the absence of any further amendment, I'll put a question. As many as are in favor of the proposed amendment by the chairman of the committee to clause 18, say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The proposed amendment is ordered to stand part of the bill. Yes, chairman of the committee, amendment number XCIII.
Mr. Speaker, clause 18, amendment proposed, interpretation for family values, paragraph A, line 3. Delete gender and insert sex. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
All members, the proposed amendment is for the consideration of the House. Any further amendment? In the absence of any further amendment, I'll put a question. As many as are in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The proposed amendment to clause 18 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Yes, chairman of the committee, amendment numbered XCIV, clause 18.
Again, Mr. Speaker, clause 18, amendment proposed, interpretation for marriage. Delete and insert the following. Marriage means a union between a man and a woman under the Marriages Act 1884 to 1985, Cap 127, whose sexes are determined at birth. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, I'll put a question. As many as are in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The proposed amendment is ordered to stand part of the bill. Now, amendment number XCV.
Mr. Speaker, clause 18, amendment proposed, interpretation for non-binary, line 2, after female, add except intersex. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
It is for the consideration of the House. Any further amendment? In the absence of any further amendment, I'll put a question. As many as are in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The proposed amendment by the chairman of the committee is ordered to stand part of the bill. Now, Chairman XCVI.
Mr. Speaker, clause 18, amendment proposed, interpretation for intersex. Delete and insert the following. Intersex means a person born with innate variations in sex characteristics, including chromosomes, hormones, gonads, or anatomy, other than binary definitions of male and female. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, the proposed amendment is for the consideration of the House. Any further amendment? In the absence of any further amendment, I'll put a question. As many as are in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The proposed amendment is ordered to stand part of the bill. XCVII.
Mr. Speaker, again, clause 18, amendment proposed, add the following new definition. Romantic relations means any sexual act other than sexual intercourse. I so move, Mr. Speaker. No, it's
promotion.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker. XCVII, clause 18, amendment proposed, add the following new definition. Promotion means the active encouragement of another person to engage in an act prohibited under this act. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Our members, the proposed amendment by the chairman of the committee is for the consideration of the House. Any further amendment? In the absence of any further amendment, I will put a question. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The proposed amendment by the chairman of the committee is ordered to stand part of the bill. Now, XCVII.
Mr. Speaker, clause 18, amendment proposed, added the following new definition. Romantic relations mean any sexual act other than sexual intercourse. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
It is for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, any proposal, further proposal? In the absence of any further proposal, I will ask the question. As many as are in favor of the proposed amendment standing part of the bill say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The proposed amendment by the chairman of the committee is ordered to stand part of the bill. Now, XCIX.
Mr. Speaker, clause 18, amendment proposed, interpretation for plus, line 2, after LGBTQAP plus, add, but contrary to the binary categories of male and female determined at birth. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, it is for your consideration. Any further amendment? In the absence of any further amendment, I'll put a question to Chairman's amendment. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The proposed amendment is ordered to stand part of the bill. Now, I'll put a question on entire clause 18 as variously amended. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 18 as variously amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Now, new clause.
Institutions engage in provision of services and support.
Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, new clause amendment proposed. Add the following new clause. Institutions engage in provision of services and support. Nothing in this act shall prevent or limit the unlawful duties, lawful duties or functions of an institution. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, it is for your consideration. I will then put a question. In the absence of any further proposed amendment, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The proposed amendment is ordered to stand part of the bill. Honourable members, long title. Oh, clause 19.
Consequential amendment.
Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, no proposed amendments. No advertised amendment, yes.
It is for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, any proposed amendment to clause 19? In the absence of any proposed amendment to clause 19, I will put a question. As many as are in favor of clause 19 standing part of the bill say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 19 is accordingly ordered to stand part of the bill. Now the long title.
An act to provide for human sexual rights and family values and related matters.
Honourable members, any proposed amendment to the long title? Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, no advertised amendment.
It is for the consideration of the House. Any proposed amendment? Honourable members, in the absence of any proposed amendment, I'll put a question to the long title. As many as are in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The long title is accordingly ordered to stand part of the bill. Honourable members, this brings us to the end of consideration stage for Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2025. Members, before we make progress, let me acknowledge a student from UCC Parliament Board, led by Abdul Nasir Abdullahi Buaben, student leader from Cape Coast North. They numbered 40. And then we have Village of Hope, led by Richmond Chum. Church and Community Affairs Manager. They are from Gumua Central. They numbered 96. Honourable members, on your behalf, let me welcome our visitors to Parliament of Ghana and urge them to have a fruitful visit to Parliament. Our guests, kindly resume your seats. Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, we will take item 41.
Yeah, UCC. One.
Speaker. Very well. Item 41.
Wait.
Motion.
Speaker, I rise to move that notwithstanding the provision of Order 172 Rule 1 of the Standing Orders, which requires that when a bill has passed through the consideration stage, the third reading thereof shall not be taken until at least one sitting day has elapsed. The motion for the third reading of the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2025 may be moved today. Mr. Speaker, I so moved.
Honourable members, motion ably moved. Any seconder?
I rise to second the motion.
Honourable members, motion moved and seconded. It is for the consideration of the House. This being a procedural motion, I'll put a question. As many as are in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. Honourable members, definitely the ayes have it. The motion is carried. Now, consequential motion number 42.
Speaker, I rise to move that the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2025 be now read the third time. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Honourable members, motion for the third reading ably moved. Any seconder?
I rise to second the motion.
Honourable members, motion moved and seconded. It is for the consideration of the House. I will then put a question. As many as are in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those against say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The motion for the third reading is accordingly adopted.
An act to provide for human sexual rights and family values and related matters.
Honourable members, the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2025 is duly read for the third time and passed. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the Minority Leader for his presence in the chamber and contributions as he joined us to pass the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill. It's a promise that was made that the bill will be passed and upon passage will be assented to expressly by President John Dramani Mahama. Mr. Speaker, but for the fact that we have not yet printed a copy of the bill, I would have assured you that this evening the bill would have been assented to.
Without ceremony, without ceremony.
Without ceremony. Unfortunately, the President is out of the jurisdiction. We have not yet printed a copy of the bill for him. But upon return to Ghana, I can assure Ghanaians that His Excellency, the President, will, as promised, assent to this bill and it will come into force. I know that my friends in the minority are going to go out there and try to mislead the public. I am told that instead of remaining in the chamber and putting up a fight based on their convictions, they have absconded, left the chamber, and they are outside attempting to mislead Ghanaians in a press conference. Mr. Speaker, what is it all about? The proponents of the bill propose in clause 9 and clause 10 that subject to the Constitution. And the committee decided to elaborate on the rendition of subject to the Constitution and felt that when it comes to the right to counsel and the freedom of lawyers to represent persons accused of offenses under this act, we cannot treat advocacy in that instance as promoting LGBTQ practice. Same way, the committee felt that they should propose to this House that media houses reporting matters relating to LGBTQ should not be accused of the offense of promoting LGBTQ. And academics, researchers, our colleagues in the minority have left. Our colleagues in the minority have left, and they're out there misleading Ghanaians that what is being passed today is a watered-down version of the bill that was presented to President Akufo-Addo to assent to. That is far from the fact. The sponsor of the bill, Reverend Dr. Reverend Ntimfojo, Honorable Ntimfojo, he who sponsored the bill allowed the rendition subject to the Constitution. One of the sponsors of the bill, he allowed the rendition subject to the Constitution. So even if this House had not attempted to elaborate on what subject to the Constitution means, I am convinced that any court would have struck down any attempt to convict a doctor providing medical services to any person involved in LGBTQ. I am convinced that any court in this country would have struck down any attempt to prosecute a media house for reporting on a matter relating to LGBTQ. And I am definitely convinced that no court would have tolerated the punishment of a lawyer who attempts to provide legal services in defense of a person practicing LGBTQ. So, in my opinion, perhaps the committee needlessly brought this proposal to us. But I think that it is out of abundance of caution to make things very clear that the committee proposed these amendments. These are the only issues on which the minority is standing to say that the bill has been watered down. This bill is not watered down. This bill does two major things. One, this bill prohibits any practice of LGBTQ in this country. Two, this bill prohibits any advocacy of LGBTQ in this country. This bill prohibits any promotion of LGBTQ in this country. And this bill punishes anybody who engages in any of these four things that I have mentioned. This, I believe, is what originally was brought to this House in the last Parliament and remains what has been brought to this House. And so I want to urge Ghanaians to accept that nothing has changed. The commitments that this House expressed in the last Parliament and this Parliament remains unalloyed. And today, the bill has been passed to satisfy the quest of many Ghanaians that we should not allow the moral fiber of our society to be destroyed by these strange practices. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank colleagues who have stayed on a Friday when they should be on their way to their constituencies to enable us to pass this bill. I want to thank the Committee on Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs for the diligence that they have applied in working on this bill. The chairman is a member of the Hajj board and is in Jeddah, but the vice chairperson who has shepherded this bill through the consideration stage must be highly commended and applauded for his performance today in helping us to pass the bill. Mr. Speaker, on that note, I thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for sitting through and guiding us diligently to ensure that this bill is passed. I believe my colleague, the minority leader, has no objection to the bill being passed. And if he had, he would have joined his colleagues to leave the chamber. He doesn't have any objection. That's why he sat with us throughout the process to ensure the passage of this bill. When President John Dramani Mahama is going to assent to the bill, I'll invite you to accompany me to the Flagstaff House to witness a president assenting to the Human Family Sexual Rights and Family Values Act that will be signed by His Excellency the President. I believe we have come to the end of the day. There will be no letter stopping. There will be no letter threatening the clerk of this Parliament, asking him to desist from bringing the bill to the Flagstaff House. Mr. Clerk, the President is eagerly waiting for you at the Flagstaff House. And he says, as soon as he returns, you should hasten with the bill to him so that, as promised to Ghanaians, he will append his signature to it. Mr. Speaker, on that note, I believe we have done more than 5 hours. We've done more than 5 hours, and therefore, Right Honourable Speaker, we are in your hands. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minority Leader, you have the floor.
Speaker, thank you for the treasure space to also say a few words. Mr. Speaker, clearly this evening, this country has witnessed an unprincipled political act by our friends in the majority. They may try and act smart, but smartness does not last. Integrity lasts. Mr. Speaker, in opposition, our friends resisted any attempt at amending their proposed sponsored bill. And today, we know that the very law that they wanted Nana Akufo-Addo to sign, when they were faced with the same law, they amended and diluted that same law. Such a double standard does not pass for a man with principles. It is not enough to say one thing whilst in opposition, and when you get power, you change your stand thinking that nobody can read through. Mr. Speaker, let me draw the attention of the House to some few procedural blunders. One, at page 42, we have been told that motion 41 and 42 were moved. But, Mr. Speaker, the terms of the motion in 41 are clearly spelled out. It is important to let Ghanaians know that at this critical stage, none of the NDC sponsors of this bill was in this chamber. Honorable Emmanuel Kwesi Bajra, whose name is advertised in this motion, was not here. Honorable Sam Nate George, not in the chamber. Honorable Na Adole Sowa, not in the chamber. Honorable Ellen Ajua Intosu, not in the chamber. Mr. Speaker, it is the reason why, without the leave of the House, the Honorable Dafia Mekpo moved a motion. We have paid attention to all that, and then when it came to motion 42, again, none of the sponsors who could have moved the motion was in to move the motion. Mr. Speaker, nobody. Where is Honorable Sam George? Mr. Speaker, he was loud on the rooftops. Very loud. Where is Honorable Bajra? The several press conferences he held. And Mr. Speaker, Hansard will be my witness that as a majority leader in the 8th Parliament, when our friends in the NDC introduced this bill and we invited them for discussions drawing the attention to the danger in certain clauses, they refused. Today, as they take responsibility of governance, they've realized that indeed the issues we raised are still critical. Mr. Speaker, who in this country is NDC trying to deceive? The religious leaders, our chiefs, our civil society? Mr. Speaker, I urge every Ghanaian interested in this matter to pick the law that the NDC pushed on Ghanaians and Akufo-Addo, and pick this very law that they claim President Mahama is going to sign. I know that indeed President Mahama couldn't have signed that bill, and the NDC knows that they cannot present the same bill. So what kind of double standard on principled politics is this? And then you think that out of smartness, you can play on words, use social media to deceive anybody. What you've passed today is very obtuse, nugatory, empty. It doesn't address the very concerns you claim you believe in. Where is your principle? Your principle is soiled. You have a soiled principle. You don't believe in anything. You believe in political mischief and political convenience to win elections. And you've been exposed. I can assure you that posterity will judge your conduct. We may be few, but we are armed with principle. We may not have the number to unturn your inactions, but we are principled. Mr. Speaker, let us build a country, whether you are in opposition or in government, let us have some values. Our friends do not have it. Our friends do not have it. But you know, there is a time for everything. There is a time for everything. Someday, you would be exposed like the way you tried to introduce e-levy in the dead of night. Like the way you tried to introduce 0.75% charges on Momo charges when you even refused to come to Parliament. When you were in opposition, you campaigned against e-levy. You came here to say you are repealing e-levy. Then you tried to use an institution which is a subsidiary of Bank of Ghana to reintroduce e-levy. So after all, you also need a revenue. After all, you need a revenue. You came and then you said you are repealing e-levy, yet you imposed Dumso levy on Ghanaians. You came, electricity tariffs have gone up by 28%. You came, water tariffs, 19%. You said women banking. You have not done anything on that. You said you are going to create one job, 3 shifts, nothing. Even you, the MPs, you are shouting. You are not having a bite at the cherry. So, Mr. Speaker, our friends are friends of double standard. You say one thing and do another. You promise those who have lost their investment, you are going to pay all of them. Those who have lost their investment, you said family and friends is bad. That is what you said in opposition. Today we know what is happening at Gold Board. You know it. You spoke against Galamsey. This is NDC. But you know what? 2028 is not far away. Mr. Speaker, 2028 is not far away. You may have the numbers today, but Mr. Speaker, as Ngugi wa Thiong'o said in Whip No Child, that the ravening clouds shall not long be victorious. They shall not long possess the sky. Whip No Child. Mr. Speaker, on these veritable words that I've quoted, I shall rest my case and leave NDC and all its propaganda to posterity. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I will not waste anybody's time.
Yes.
I understand how painful today has turned out for the minority. They didn't think that we'll pass the LGBTQ bill. We have passed it. And he's worried that John Mahama would sign it. And that would be a major indictment on the NPP and, of course, on his leadership, because at the time that Akufo-Addo authored through his secretary the cease and desist, the famous cease and desist letter, he was the embattled majority and minority leader. He was the embattled majority and minority leader. So I think that this moment is a very painful moment for him.
Honourable members.
So, Mr. Speaker, we said we're in your hands, so.
In excess of 5 hours and fortified by Order 56-2, it is incumbent upon me to adjourn the House. The House is accordingly adjourned till Monday, first day of June 2026 at 10 o'clock in the forenoon.
Yes,